What's up? Hey guys, so we're gonna do checkering today, and in the example I use in this video, I'm carving on a skull, but this technique works for pretty much any material you can carve into. I would say you typically see checkering on gun stocks. That's like a classic look. It's really good for like the negative spaces around a little filigree design on a gun stock, but it's much more than that. You can apply it to lots of different things. So if that's what we're going to do in this video, I hope you try it as well. Now, one of the benefits to checkering is that you can carve on a really thin piece of material. In my case, I do a lot of carving on skulls where the bone can be quite thin because you can essentially just barely scratch the surface and make that checkering pattern. So this is a great option over something like stippling, where you're punching tiny little divots into the material. So this is kind of an alternative to stippling or other designs to fill up a negative space. So that's where this comes into play. Now, the proper look for the diamonds should be to have a diamond that is about 2 times the height as the width. A lot of the times I see people doing checkering, they will essentially do just a square. And although it may look like a diamond from a different angle, it really is just a square. So instead of doing a 90-degree angle across your lines, you would do about a 60-degree angle in order to get a diamond that is more elongated instead of just a square. Because of the shape of the inverted comb burr, try to hold your handpiece at an angle to the surface of the bone. If you hold it too close to the surface like this, you will not get a correct V. If you hold it at an angle, you'll get a nice V. If you do not, you'll get a groove that is, let's see if you can see that, offset. And holding it like this, you're just going to get a really uneven look to your checkering, as opposed to if you hold it at an angle and get those nice V cuts. The first step is to put some guidelines to follow, and I will place them about 1/4 of an inch apart, and that is just so when I am carving, I can just try to stay according to those straight lines, and in the end, it'll help get a more uniform look. Now just start on one side and work your way across. Now that we have all the lines cut in the one direction, come back, add in your guidelines for the opposite direction, and again, putting those about at a 60-degree angle to the lines you've just cut. And there you have a beautiful checkered pattern, which just really accents the carving really well. As you will notice, depending on the skull that you're carving, contours of the skull, the shape, will affect your checkering, and really all you need to do is just go with it. You may get areas that seem kind of warped, where your diamonds will be a little bit thinner in some areas and then will widen out in other areas. Trust me, that's perfectly fine, and it actually gives it kind of an interesting, cool look as well. Now, I'm going to give you kind of a cheat, if you want to call it that. But when you see checkering on gun stocks, those people use checkering tools, and that's what I have here. Now, you can use these to some extent with skull carving, but it's not always practical. You do have to put kind of a lot of pressure onto the checkering tool in order to make that groove, and it really only works with an area that is really flat and where your lines are really long. A lot of the areas on the skull, simply I couldn't use it with. I did use it on some of the longer lines a little bit just to create nice clean lines, and it does just that. I mean, perfectly uniform, perfectly clean lines, but again, not always practical, not always an option when you are carving. But there is your checkering. And there you have it. Now, if skull carving, like my example, is something new to you, you might be interested in my book. I'm going to do a little self-promotion. Skull carving, this covers all the tools and techniques, prepping the skull, carving, staining, that you need to know to carve skulls. So if that's something you're interested in, take a check on Amazon, or just look at the link in the description of this video. Thanks again for watching. Stay around for more to come.